Plot cars aren't real cars.
Thanks, Brian. And thank you for joining us on Worldwide Slot Car Chat number 81. I'm your host, Greg Galb. Gang's all here. John, and John, and Matt.
So we all went to the John.
Everybody's a John. Oh, and Leo. Yeah, sorry, Leo. There's always so many Johns. But yeah, let's talk about slot cars. And I don't have any show and tell. John has a show and tell, and I'm sure there's another John that has something that they want to talk about at some point. Raise your electronic hand, and we'll get to you at some point. John, Mr. Kit, take it away. You're still muted, by the way.
He's in mime mode.
There we go.
Sorry about that.
Proceed.
Yeah, you know what? I kept hitting Alt S instead of A. I don't know why. All right. So again, I thought I'd get this out of the way at the beginning of the chat, so just to you know, not to be well, I won't say the name. Here we go. So here we go. I did a little bit more work on the 935, and this is a follow-up from Dennis, your comments on the interior. Sometimes it's better to build a new house than renovate. So I thought, okay, I'll create a new interior to your specifications. So it's
that's looking good.
I'm sorry?
That's looking good.
Well, thank you. Yeah. So as you can see, I cut the seat down by 1/4 of an inch and it fit, no problem. Made it to the proper sill height for the doors, and the same proper width for the dashboard.
Nice.
And and there's of course there's, you know, the headless driver waiting to drive.
Yeah, it's pretty armless too. Huh?
Yeah, he is armless too. That's true. Yeah. Sorry about that. So, and then just to show you that it actually does fit in the car and we have the right space. Again, I'm sorry, holding the. You can see the shadow.
Yeah.
Here.
Oh, that looks good. Yeah, that looks fine. There's lots of space there.
Lots of space. This is to show you that there's lots of space in the back.
True. Yeah, that looks good, John.
Okay, cool.
Really nice.
Oh, thank you. And then there's lots of space here. There's at least 1/4 of an inch here.
That's good. Yeah, that's plenty.
Okay. And I was still going to put some sort of little block here that you can drill into or do something.
I would rather not, but.
Sorry, say again?
I would rather not have a little block there.
Oh, you would not want one?
No, because I'm going to put foam in there.
Oh, okay. Then I'll just leave the undersill as it is then?
Absolutely, just like that.
You got it. No worries.
Because when I do that, I will in that 1/4 inch gap there now.
Yeah.
I'm going to glue a piece of firm foam rubber that is attached to a piece of brass that has a nut on it, and then the chassis will have a screw coming through it into that nut. So the connection between the body and the chassis is those 2 pieces of firm foam rubber. So it isolates the body.
Oh, that's a great idea. Cool. Okay. So I just thought I'd show you the rest of the interior here, Dennis.
Okay. So, nice.
Yeah, the driver does fit, and he never had feet to begin with.
Yeah, well, that's fine.
And then I went in my spares box and found a period correct helmet, just to give you an idea. So that's how it's going to look.
It's looking good so far. Great.
Cool. And then I polished up the body. So the next step actually is just to make the mold. So you can see, I don't know if you can see the sheen here, but I used novice polish #2 to get it to a nice shine.
Good work.
And believe it or not, that Tupperware sort of plastic actually shined up quite nicely. So I'll just take you around the horn here just to show you the entire car. So we're ready to cast, and that'll happen this week. We're going to block it off and pour some rubber.
Exciting.
There you go. I do have some other things to share, if that's okay. And then I promise I'll just sit like a good boy and just make usual, dumb comments that I usually do. Allow me. This is the RSK. I'll just show that right now. Hang on, sorry about this. Share screen, and here we go. And since I was polishing, I thought I'd polish this up, and it actually polished up quite nicely. I don't know if you can see the difference from last week, but you gotta love 60s plastic, because when you hit it with some half decent plastic polish, it really does shine nicely. There's a better shot here. You can see, look at the shine on the front here.
Shiny.
It is, yeah. So I thought before I put the headlight buckets in, I'd see if I could polish it up a bit, and it worked really, really well. Like you can see even on the fenders here. I mean, I'm sure it's carcinogenic as all get out, but my goodness, it shined up so nicely. And there's the back. Like, look at that. Like, isn't that amazing? Oh well. So there you go. That's the RSK. And then I will show you now. This is something that I sort of how can I put this? I touched on a wee while ago, and this is what I'd like to propose to everyone who participates here on our wonderful worldwide chat. And I don't know what else to call this except the 356 World Car. And here's what I'm proposing. Oops, hang on. Sorry. Hang on. My fingers are slow today. I apologize. Hang on. Here's what I'm proposing. I would like to put a 356 together that was from the kit that I made, and a chassis. So I put a chassis together. Now, of course, this is no Dennis Sampson chassis by any means. It's a poor man's attempt, sort of like the Carmen Ghia to a 356. But it does have some movement, and so I think once it's wired up, I think it'll go pretty well. It'll have aluminum wheels like this. I'll true the tires, so the chassis will hopefully go well, and hopefully go on plastic and wood. And what I'm wondering is what color body you folks would like to go around the world. Should we go red, yellow, or blue?
I feel like you're trolling here.
Yeah, whatever color you want to finish up and send around the world, honestly.
I would think
Really?
it if, seeing as it's Greg's chat, that maybe it should be blue
Yep.
and yellow.
No.
Yeah, okay. Well, I could put a yellow stripe down here if you like.
There you go.
I certainly won't complain.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
there you go.
I may not get the car back.
At least you'll get something back, if not a stack of bills.
Okay, so blue with a yellow stripe?
Yeah.
Sounds
Yes.
good.
You can't go wrong. You can't go wrong, really.
No,
Okay, and then the other question, any preference as far as numbers?
Nope.
Okay. Done. So
Uh,
that's it for me then.
Okay, cool. So before we get to our next show and tell, I wanted to propose something to our watchers out there who have not subscribed to my YouTube channel. The Zoom chats have increased my subscriptions substantially. That's why I'm able to monetize, and they've gone up tremendously over the last several months. But it's not at 2,000 yet. We're just shy of 1,500 subscribers to my channel. And I was thinking it would be fun to do a giveaway of some sort or a contest of some sort when I hit 2,000 subscribers. Got to hit 2,000 subscribers to get there. So if you are watching this but you're not subscribed to the channel, hit subscribe. The sooner we get to 2,000, the sooner we'll have a giveaway of some sort. And the sooner you as a subscriber are likely to have a chance to win in that giveaway. So we'll probably do something similar as before, some kind of car or, slot car related thing of some sort, and, commenting and whatnot like we do when I get monetization payback. And of course, more subscribers means better monetization, which means, those checks come in more often to do those, that I can do those contests with. So again, subscribe. Like, comment, all that jazz. Work that algorithm so we can get more subscribers. We'll do another contest at 2,000, and this is not in lieu of if I get money. So if I end up getting a check in next month, we'll do one then and one at 2,000, and so on and so forth. So that out of the way, let us hit. Brian, is that you? You're muted.
Yeah, it's me. I'm on my work computer and that's my login for work.
Okay, I'm gonna change your name. I enabled name changing, so if anybody has a name that they would like to change to one that's more recognizable or memorable, feel free to do so. Take the floor, Brian.
All right. Well, I decided on what I wanted to do for my next 3D printed car. Let me share my screen here. And I just wanted to share some of the challenges of doing this.
Yes, I like.
Is this showing up?
Yep.
Okay. So anybody care to guess what the car is?
It looks like either an Alpine or probably a Tiger.
It is. That's what it is. It's an Alpine Tiger. I grabbed this file off of Thingiverse, and it was advertised as a 1/32nd scale. Now, the dark blue car on the right is the car as the file came. Okay, there were some minor things with it, but easy enough fix, and it was okay. But when I started looking at it, it's the size of a C7 Corvette, 1/32nd scale. So having known someone who had an Alpine, I was like, something isn't right here. So I went and I looked up specs. And the first thing I did was I scaled the yellow car here is I just took this file and in Tinkercad, if you click on it, you can see I can get the dimensions here. But if I hold shift and drag that corner, it does everything in proportion, height, length, width. So the first thing I did is I rescaled this to match the reported wheelbase for this car, which what I did is I made this square here, it's off a little bit now, that equivalent to the wheelbase of the car. And you can see I went to the center of each wheel arch. But as you can tell, it made the car a lot shorter, but it did not make it a whole lot narrower. So I went in, I can also have the ability to go in and I can do each of these measurements independently. So I went in and I got the specs for the car, scaled them down to 1/32nd, and these are the values that came up. So you can see quite a bit of difference here. It's not a whole lot shorter. You can see this is 123.8 versus the original one came in at 125.7. But look at the difference in width, 61.26 millimeters versus 48. Huge difference.
Yeah, and Brian, it looks like you did a great job because they were tiny cars.
Right. And well, originally what I did is in my slicer, you can scale within your slicing software on these. So I just went in and the nice thing is I can type in what the dimension should be, and then it'll also give me what that percentage is. To get it right, I had to narrow the car down to 78% of the original file size. Length, however, was 98%. So you can see when I took the file and did the wheelbase, the car became much shorter. When I clicked in the actual dimensions the car should be based on what I had. Now, granted, there'd be bumpers on here, so we might have a millimeter or two in either direction. You can see the car got a lot narrower, but it didn't get a whole lot shorter. However, the wheelbase is off now. So in this case, when I went to the center of the arches, the wheelbase is 77 millimeters. Based on the specs I had, it should be 68.25. So this is a case where I've got the dimensions of the body correct, but the wheelbase isn't correct based on the specs. And every website I went to that talked about the Sunbeam Tiger gave the same specs. So it wasn't like one spec gave this and one spec gave that, or Mark 1 versus Mark 2. The specs were all the same. So I'm not sure. I mean, it's a pretty good looking model.
If you
So
look,
I'm not sure.
is anything in the wrong spot? Like if you look at I'm not familiar with the car, so is the front wheel arch too forward, or is the rear wheel arch too far back, or what?
Well, the only thing I was
Go
going to say,
ahead.
the only thing I can see, Brian, is that the doors look a wee bit too large.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that wouldn't have anything to do with overall length or width.
No, but would it not have anything to do with the wheelbase? No.
How, well, if I make the door smaller, all I'm changing is the body lines here. I'm not actually changing the dimension here.
Oh,
It's off by about 10 millimeters. But then if I take 10 millimeters out of this body and shorten the wheelbase, then the car's not right.
Like if the door were shorter as in real life, then maybe should the front wheel arches be moved back, or should the rear arches be moved forward, or something like that? Keep the whole length. Obviously, that's more difficult, but
Okay.
keeping the whole length and just moving the arches.
We're talking 10 millimeters here difference.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that would be about putting that front wheel arch almost all the way back to this door.
Yeah.
So the challenges of slot cars, I can understand why manufacturers on occasion take liberties with scale. The other trick is the additional parts, the window frame, the headlights, the taillights, the bumpers. Since I scaled this differently in one dimension to another, it's going to be a little tricky figuring out how to get those to fit as well. It actually printed fairly well. I printed the original size model, the dark blue one here. It actually printed fairly well.
Have you got the print with you?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, I'd love to see it.
That was going to be my next question: is if it's got an appropriate thickness for printing.
Yes, it does. There's one spot on here I notice I'm going to have to probably. It's actually somewhat heavy of a body. They did reinforcement in the right place. And I'm sorry about the terrible picture here, guys. I've been trying to shut off lights in the basement to try and give me better here, but it would be sturdy enough.
And is that a resin print, Brian?
This is a resin print.
Could I see the wheel wells again? And here's the same thing built. I was trying to see if yours matched up. Greg, by the way, it's a brick. It's really thick. You end up trying to thin it.
Yeah, for me, it's not bad. I mean, I'm not competing with it, so yeah, this was off of Thingiverse. There's a couple of them out there, a couple different versions, but they all started with the same base model. How do your wheel wells look in relation to the doors and everything there, Steve?
Well, that's fine. I need to see your picture again, your Tinkercad picture. Then let's swing over to the yellow one. There you go. Hang on.
Now the yellow one's been scaled for wheelbase, so the body
Yeah,
length and width
I know.
is correct. So
Yeah, I got that. Mine are about the same. My rear wheel, the rear wheel is moved in toward the door a little more than yours. I got less overhang in the back than you do. Other than that, same basic thing.
The arches are too big, aren't they?
Well, the original file is, but you have to rescale everything you get off Tinkercad.
Yeah.
well, like I said, this was advertised as a 1/32, and I kind of
Yeah.
took him at his word.
Yeah,
And
they
then
always do.
once I printed it, it was like, this looks a little too boxy. I remember this car being narrower, more like a Spitfire or something
Yeah,
along
it's a-
that size.
It's a free file, right?
Yeah, and it's a
Yeah.
pretty nice file. I'll give him that. And it's
Yeah.
complete. He's got the bumpers, he's got the rear tail lights, the headlights, the window frame. So it's going to need a little work, but I ran the first one. You kind of sometimes have to run one just to see if there's going to be problems that you don't necessarily see in the file. There's one in the passenger side wheel arch. There's a sliver missing that I didn't catch when it was in there. So I'll have to go in and just put a little piece in there. I think it'll make a great looking slot car, but again, trying to get
does.
proportions right sometimes can be a challenge.
Okay.
So Steve, what did you end up with an overall width on yours? Because this one's only 48 when I go by the specs on Wikipedia for it.
I don't know. I built this thing 2 years ago. I don't know.
Okay.
I really don't. It's more like it's not as long. Your center one is just too long looking.
Now the center one is per specs. That
Yeah.
should be what it's supposed to look like based on the specs I found.
It just looks, yeah. I don't know. What can I tell you?
Yeah.
Came out like that.
So I mean, I guess I may just live with the wheelbase being off a little bit. I mean, it seems the lesser of the evils to me, having a
Yep.
little longer wheelbase than having it look like it's, you know, I mean, that's a big car, that dark blue one. Like I said, that's about the size of a C7 Corvette.
Well, in keeping with the character who drove the car, missed it by that much.
Funny you say that. That's kind of how I fell in love with that model in the first place.
Exactly. Would you believe it's 1/32nd scale?
Yeah. Like I said, here it is compared to a Carrera C7 Corvette size wise.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
too much.
yikes.
Yeah.
Definitely not right.
Brian, do you have the Revell kit to compare by chance?
No, John, I don't have any Revell kits.
I have it. I can go get it if you like.
You can send me 3 of them if you like. That'd be okay.
Wow.
there's not-
Gee.
Well, if you
There's
want to
not-
grab one, it would be interesting to see how narrow they actually have.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, but you know, not all Canadians are pushovers, eh?
Just their hockey clubs.
You know-
Don't talk to me about the Leafs. I'll be right back.
When,
All right.
when I was a teenager, or well, in my early 20s, I worked at Amco for a while, and the owner of the Amco that I worked at loved Sunbeam Tigers, and he would stockpile these things and drive all over the Northwest for them, and then he stashed them all in the attic at the shop. So whenever it was time to find a part, he would send me up, and I don't know how long. I must have spent half a summer looking for parts up there, and I never knew what it was. I couldn't even tell you. I know what a Sunbeam looks like now, but I couldn't have told you when I was, you know, at that age, because I was only coming down with pieces at a time. But beautiful car when it's all done.
Yeah, definitely keep us up to date on that project, Brian.
Brian, it's 50, mine's 53 wide, if that helps.
That sounds like right about in the middle because mine was 48
Yeah,
and the original model was 61. And the one I resized for wheelbase came in at just under 54.
that's about where I am.
All right.
Okay,
Good stuff. Oh, there's John holding the kit. Let me spot like that. Hold that up again. Get the
Oh
body.
yeah, that helps.
Take the body out.
Right, this one. Yes, of course. Okie dokie. And I brought my trusty Vernier calipers. By
Excellent.
the way, if you ever see this one online, it's the same kit. It was just issued by their sub-brand Advent.
Yeah.
So you can pick that one up too. But okay,
Nope.
so we want to do width. And again,
You know, I didn't realize until I started researching this that Carol Shelby was actually somewhat involved in this project.
yeah, actually, it was actually done by Ken Miles. Ken Miles did all the development work on the Sunbeam Tiger.
Yep. They call it the poor man's Cobra.
They do, although it's got a shorter wheelbase and doesn't handle as well. But the other thing that happened too was that the Roots Group sold Sunbeam to Chrysler.
Yep. And that's
And
why
that's
it kind
why
of
the-
died off.
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah, because they were using a Ford engine. If they put a Hemi in, it would have been fine. Okay, so I'm taking it at its widest point. Is that fair, Brian?
Yeah, because that's what the software would look at.
Okay. And as far as let's use metric. What the heck? It's easier. I've got 4.85.
That's exactly where I'm at. 48 millimeters is what I had on the rescaled one.
I feel like I'm on a game show. This is awesome. So I'll try and do the wheelbase. Is that like center line to center line, like center
Yep,
to center?
yep. That's what I did.
Okay. So there's a wee bit of an eyeball here, but I'm going to do it this way so I don't cheat. Okay, so that's about center. I've got. Oh, look
Can
at
you
that.
measure the chassis, John?
Oh, that's
Can
a
you
good
use the
idea.
chassis?
Yeah, that's a very good idea. Okay.
Okay, mine came out at 77.16
Okay.
when I scaled for proper length and width.
Thank you, Michael. I should not have done the artistic interpretation here.
The magnet guys are smart.
Yeah, are they ever? Thank goodness. Okay, what have I got here? I've got 6.9.
So about 69 And mine
Yeah.
was, what did I just say?
You said 70 something.
77 was mine.
Okay. And that's
Now, the one I rescaled that I thought based on their specs came out at 68.25.
That's
okay. And here, as you can see, it fits in quite nicely.
And what did you just came up at 69?
Yep. I've still got it here. It's, yeah, 69. Bang on.
So the yellow one I did was correct for wheelbase, but the blue one's right for width. What do you got for length?
Oh, body length. So longest point to longest point. Okay. Let's see here what we got here. I feel like I'm in a doctor's office. Let's see here. Okay. I've got, bang on 11.5.
Okay, so that'd be 115.
Yeah.
I'm at 123. So based on the information I had, your car is not scale.
Well, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. So it's, that was kind of the point. Who do you believe sometimes? I guess you just got to go with the lesser of three evils here.
Yeah, because, to your point, model makers, even when they're making models, take liberties because you can do it to exact scale and it'll look odd. So you have to stretch and pull and yeah.
Well, in a case of slot cars, sometimes it's a case of getting stuff to fit underneath it as well.
Right.
So
specifically the motors, right?
Yeah, exactly. So,
but this was fun.
All right. Well, that's all I got. I didn't mean to take up quite so much time.
Oh, that was fun.
Don't tell me. Now you guys want like resin copies of this now?
Absolutely.
He's gonna print his own. You're good to go.
Only if it can have a machine gun coming out of the hood.
Now, if you can do an Opel GT, because
you
that
can
was
buy
his
the
other
Opel
car.
GT kit. They reissued. Revell has just issued that.
Yeah. I actually owned one of those at one time, but
no. How badly did it rust?
it had been redone by the local high school auto shop, so it actually had been pretty good.
Okay. Cool.
All right, that sounds like a fun project that we look forward to progress on. DeJuan, you've had your electronic hand up. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, I know if I mentioned I was going for this little project for the Mach 5.
Oh yeah, did you find a competitor for it?
I did, but I found, well, when this thing came in, I was trying to get a chassis to fit underneath it. And over the weekend, I went down to Electric Dreams and saw this guy named Dennis. And he suggested, this is a 1/25th scale body, but it's super narrow. And that's just the way they, that's just the dimensions of the that little fantasy cartoon car. So we actually had to go with a 132 scale underbody, and he suggested the slotted.
The slotted HRS, yes.
Yes, and it fits quite nicely.
There you go.
I haven't made all the adjustments to the internals to be able to have it fit in there. I was trying to actually get part of the interior to fit in there so that I can have some remnants of the car. And I'm gonna have to do a lot of modifications to make that happen. But anyway, that's where we're working with on that. And speaking of which, you mentioned, well, first of all, I had this, I'm going to share the screen. For some reason, I had a screenshot of this. In my file, and I don't know why. Can you see that?
Not yet.
Coming in, it says, oh, we see your desktop.
My desktop.
Yep.
Okay, it's supposed to be showing this. Should be showing this. Oh, no.
Oh, your connection is not so good, apparently.
Not seeing a Mach 5?
No, you're going to have to stop
Oh,
sharing.
it does say low resources. Oh my.
Yeah.
Yeah, hold on 1 second. Let me close some windows here.
It's usually when it says low resources, if it's a Zoom pop-up, then it's talking about your internet.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop this share because we don't need to see your desktop. Make sure the thing is open. and then share.
Let's go back again and try to do that one more time. Darn, I just closed it. Trying to get the resource and close the wrong window. Have it all set aside. Try to be prepared.
Ain't that always the way?
Low resources. It did that last time with me.
Okay, you've got 51 minutes to go.
I'm
Is
not
that the
planning
Wayne
on setting
factor?
any new records. No, I won't.
Oh, you guys are nasty.
I'm betting he heard some of that at the he was at.
Okay, almost there. God,
Yeah, this is a tough room.
We say these things with love, really.
It's a tough room.
Oh, yeah, you should be in a hockey dressing room, my friend.
well, I can't. Well, let me see. Go back one folder here. I think it's in this one. I had it saved and right up there. But I was wondering if someone could, because it basically was a Mach 5. There it is. Okay, so let me go back to this and share it. Did it come up?
Looking at your desktop again, Dewan. Did you actually open the file?
I did. Now the resources are coming low again.
So
Oh well.
maybe
Anyway, it's a Mach 5 slot car, and someone issued it, and I don't know who had issued it. I was trying to see if I could, if anyone knew the origin of that Mach 5.
Do you know what scale to what?
It looks like it's 132.
Okay.
Darn, that's what I was. I was hoping. I mean, I didn't want to just sit up here and describe. I mean, a picture's worth 1,000 words, and I don't have 1,000 words to go through.
well, see if you
Going
can.
through the picture.
I mean, try to open the picture. Wait for the picture to open in whatever program it opens in.
Right, and that's what I did.
And then when you share, you should get a window full of windows.
Right, and
Click on the picture, not the desktop.
Yeah, that's what I thought I did. It says, oh, you know what? I was picking on screen. There we go. So let's try this. Now, okay, because it had both the.
There we go.
Okay.
Whoa.
So, was this a custom job, or did someone issue this, or I don't know why I have this picture.
I think that's a custom job.
And I think that's a scratch built. Yeah.
It is. Okay. Well, they're doing the same thing I'm trying to do right now. Then.
Yep.
Okay.
Right.
That's probably the model kit, the same model kit too.
Well, it's pretty cool looking.
Well, I hope,
Yeah, it's a good
mine
job.
comes out like that. That's why I was okay. So that was the first thing. The second thing was let me get back to my next image. One moment. Folder. Folder right here, and this was the. Do this. That's what I found on.
Now we're seeing your desktop again.
Really?
I think you're just teasing us, Dewan.
I think whatever.
Okay, well, let me go to the next image. Okay. Anyway, it's the Mach 9. It's the Racer X Mach 9. I found as a toy car, plastic toy car, 125th scale. And I was gonna pretty much try to gut this thing up and try to make it into, just salvage as much of the body as I could to make that into the Nemesis slot car. Okay. So that was that. And then now we go to my last screen share here. This one I know I'm going to get right.
Knock on wood.
Yeah. All right.
Hey, paper model.
Yay! All right, no desktop, right?
No desktop.
Okay, so yeah, this was what I talked about last week. I did misrepresent something. I said it had multiple levels that you could see through, but it just had a description of level 2, and I thought it was going to be showing that you had different levels to be able to show, but it doesn't. You don't see those different levels. But anyway, this is kind of a couple ideas of how the thing built up to. And going through it was the retails at $22, and I think I got 20% off, so it was like $18. So it really kind of came out pretty nicely. So that was the construction of putting it together, and then I'm gonna stop the screen share again.
Duan, that center thing in the middle, is that like a support or a chimney? What is
It
that?
is. It's a support. And that's why I thought it was going to be multiple levels, because it had that in there. And it was before I put the kit together when I mentioned that. But yeah, that is to support the roof. Yeah. So I'll stop that. And
Oh, you got it right there. All right, let me spotlight you here.
this is kind of
That looks great.
Does look pretty good. You got the awning.
It's not small either.
No, this is not small. And well, you can't. I know I don't know. It's gonna be a way for me to get, but you can see inside the doors open there. And if you look inside, I was able to have some illumination inside. You'd be able to see some of the people that I put in there. You can see that guy.
Oh yeah, I see the
Yeah,
Yeah, they're smaller than 132. The people are. The scale is 132, but the people that they gave me as part of the kit are, I think, scale 0 or 143, maybe 150th or something. I don't know what they are, but so anyway. So and again, you have all these little what they call illusion rooms that you can see different things in and different people and stuff like that. So
I love the Gotham City Hotel. That's awesome.
it did change. Somehow the name changed.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So and again, I did pick up another probably dozen of their kits. I'm doing the garage, the 4-door garage. So I just thought they give you a lot of little. They give you, I think, 3 little people to go with it. They give you some shrubbery to put around the place to add to it. And I don't know if you saw the little. All of them have little tiny things. This one has like a little dumpster.
Yeah, I saw that. I thought that's pretty cool.
So, you know, there's also little add-on things to supplement the image.
Doesn't it have like a roof access, like a stairway access on the roof or something? Or
This one doesn't, but some of them do.
what's on the top of that one?
This one just glued down. This is completely glued down.
No, what's on the top of the building? When you look on the top.
Those are chimneys. Just give us a 3D illusion. So it has some chimneys.
Oh, okay. That's what I was seeing. I thought it was the stairway access to the roof.
Oh no, those are just chimneys to give it some additional. And they give you also they raise the vents for the air conditioning. So you can see that, but so they give you a little, you know, the 5-foot rule is definitely met there.
For sure. Yeah, good stuff. Anything else to want?
I think that's about it. I was going to get to a little bit. Oh, you know what? I did want to point out that one thing that made my job go easier on those models was my local Walmart just picking up a little paper trimmer.
Oh yeah.
For $19.99, this probably saved me trimmed my time down about a good hour per project.
Yeah, those are really nice.
Yeah, so
It probably saved your fingers with it too.
yeah, that too. Because it takes 3 or 4 passes with an X-Acto knife and just one pass with that, and it's not 100% as accurate, but it's good enough again to pass that 5-foot rule.
Yeah.
And you could probably also use that for styrene as well when you're scratch building.
I'll find that out.
I mean, at the very least, it'll give a nice score mark to help snap the styrene for sure.
And it has a scorer on there too. So it has a cutter and a scorer. So if you're doing what I have, this stock is not just standard card stock. it's a photorealistic stock that's some proprietary that they use. And so, and you do score. That's how you get those doors to open and the things like that for those illusion rooms. You just score it. And so this, that little trimmer does that too. Okay,
Awesome.
that's pretty much it for today.
All right, good stuff, Dewan. Thanks for sharing. Leo, you are next on my list, sir. What do you got for us today?
Right. I'm showing off my latest 3D print.
Ooh,
So this is a control tower.
very nice. I saw that was posted on Slot Racer Online, I think.
Yeah, if anyone wants to replicate this, they can get the design from slotracer.com. A chap called John May designed it and is offering it to the world, basically. You have to put your own track name on it, unless you want his track name. But yeah, it's a sort of stylish control tower for your track. The white bit here, it's obviously it's in bits. The white bit, that was an 8-hour print. So I was pretty pleased that came out. I'm always sort of worried about long print runs because they fail in the last 10 minutes or whatever. But this one worked fine, so it's obviously a good design. Yeah, I'm pretty pleased with that. I've not found a place for it on the track yet, but I will do. And yeah, so just thought I'd show that off.
Well done. Nice print. That's awesome.
Yeah. I'm pretty pleased with that. As I say, the 8 hours thing. The plinth bit, the stand has a door printed into it. It doesn't open, but there's a doorway open, a door opening panel there. I think I need to paint it a different color to make it highlight. But
That's
yeah,
really
it's nice.
cool.
Nice. Yeah.
That's neat. Thanks for the tip.
Yeah, it looks great, Leo. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
Bill, you're next.
Yeah.
What's up, Bill?
Oh, I got a fair amount of stuff. I've been really busy.
Awesome.
I've got stuff kind of turned around here. 1 second here. So the first thing is, because the best kind of love is tough love sometimes. I want to show you. So I got one of the Slot Technic chips, and I'm keeping it off screen for a minute here. So I got a 2 Jaguar Scalextric set. These Jaguars that my wife wanted, and so I got the Slot Technics chips for them. But I really have not been very good at soldering at all, to the point where I really have been afraid of doing it. But after I did a bunch of these LED street lights on the track, I'm a lot more confident with it. However, now soldering is one thing, but if you don't read the instructions properly, you're going to end up with something that looks like this. And I'm not sure if you can see all of that's a lot of heat shrink. These are, and because I didn't know what to do in terms of replacing the wires. So these are absolute Frankensteins, or this one is certainly. And you can see I've given up with the driver. Frankly, there's just no room to begin with, under this hood. They really pack it down here. And so that's the first one. The second one, I think you can see some improvement. I'm not sure if it's as easy to see here, but basically it has about half the heat shrink and I think about half the solder points. However, they both work now. So I've gone through both and I'm now familiar with that process, which is good. And my understanding is those chips are good in terms of if I ever want to move it to an oxygen track or something like that. So,
I mean, do you want me to correct misunderstandings now, or wait until later?
Sure. Tell me, because if I don't have to do this again, that'd be okay. I really, I could have skipped it.
Okay.
It wasn't the worst thing, but.
So let's backtrack a little bit. You have a Carrera digital track, right?
Correct.
Okay, and so the Slot Technic chips are a third-party Carrera digital compatible chip.
Right.
They are not slotted chips. Those are never going to be oxygen you'll have to replace the chips to make them oxygen cars.
Oh, well, that sucks. Okay.
The only
Huh.
chip that is multifunction like that that's currently on the market is the slotted Type C chip that can take different firmware in it.
All right. Well, I guess the person I was talking to I must have been a little confused.
Sometimes,
Okay.
sometimes
It
the,
happens.
sometimes the people you're talking to are confused because
Yeah.
there's a lot out there and there's a lot of information. You're always welcome to check with me. I don't know everything, but I know a lot on the digital side of things. So
Yeah.
if I don't know,
Oh, these,
somebody who I think knows. But I mean, they're great Carrera digital chips. There's nothing wrong with what you've done. And
well, the Carson chips don't require all this. Frankly, I mean, unless I'm missing something.
those cars aren't DPR cars though, so the Carson chips would not have benefited you any more than the Slot Technic chips.
Okay. And that's the thing. If I'm putting in the work, it's fine as long as I need to be putting in the work. But otherwise, I could be spending that time elsewhere. But it's still a good exercise.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, is when you've done the more of these that you do, the better your job will be. You have a lot of wire in there, and while I'm not,
Yep.
you gotta minimize weight by removing wire, just by doing as much wire as you need to get from the guide to the chip and then from the chip to the motor and stuff, you'll be able to put the interior back in maybe, or cut away less of the interior to still have it be there.
Yep.
Stuff like
Absolutely. And that's really, I mean, it was mostly just a question of getting to survival. I mean, I put it on the track. I'm like, I thought I was going to see sparks or something, but it worked out. It took work, but it was positive. It was a good experience. So
I will say one more thing in that.
Yeah.
Chipping a front motored car of any kind is a challenge. So you took on a high technical challenge chip job from just to begin with. And it looks like you did a great job. If the car goes and changes lanes, that's a win. I call that a good installation.
Well, the changing lanes, I started on one of them. I tried to put it in the one place where I thought it would work over here, but it was in the back. And I found that it just would not change lanes in time. I figured that out relatively quickly. And then I moved it up to the front, right up next to the motor, and got it in there, and now it's 100%. So these are what the wife wants, the wife gets. And so she wanted a couple of Jaguars, so I said okay. But
Yep,
now,
happy wife, happy life, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, even better, even more well done.
Yeah. So now with that excitement or whatever with soldering, it goes on to the next project. And Greg, you were part of that thread where I wanted to extend, because of my track here, I have a tendency, if I'm sitting right here, I have a tendency to fling the vehicle over on that corner. If we're racing, it's just one of the tougher corners. The other one is right here. Well, I realized if I extend the controller over there and one of us is in one place and one is in the other, we can both march and use our resources a little better, keep the track moving. So I clipped off the Carrera, one of these junk Carrera detonators. I clipped this section off here. I got a regular phone cord here. I snipped that end, soldered them together. This looks ugly, but it's a good solder under it with heat shrink. I just didn't want anything to move.
Yep.
So
that's how I did my motor extension.
Good deal. And then that just runs to a coupler there. And then I just filed down on this side so the true speed, there we go, would fit in there. And you could see, and I put a little glue in there, but I know I can file it out. And so, that's what minor stuff. So that's that. So that's another project done. Then the biggest one is this work right here. And I don't know if you guys could see all of this, but I've been doing a lot of foam cutting. And you can see here, I'm essentially building out kind of a canyon type of deal. I thought about doing some like a tunnel, but I'm not I have a lot more technical learning to do on this. But I'm slowly getting there. It needs to look more like a mountain than
Now,
a
Bill,
column.
sorry to interrupt, but is that your St. Helens?
I'm thinking Close Encounters.
Oh yeah, well, and yeah. So one of them, I've got two that I'm going to do. One being Mount St. Helens, but then the other one being Devil's Tower. But Devil's Tower has columns.
Yeah.
And that is where I'm challenged on that. So but I have to get another tool for that. And it's just one of these things. I'm biting things off slowly and trying to learn that. And I also picked up an airbrush this week, which probably won't help things either, but it keeps me busy.
There you go.
And then all of the track and all of this that I was talking about before, I've completed all the printing on that.
Nice.
And so that's pretty much that.
Well, you obviously have a lot of workmen with all those porta potties.
You know, I actually had those stacked. The porta potties were actually stacked on the different cliff sides for a while, and but I decided it might be a little too sadistic for race participants. So,
well, that's okay, because ultimately it all flows downhill.
that is true, but it would flow onto the track, and I spent a lot of time soldering these things. So, but yeah, I really appreciate Greg. Thanks, for the tip in regards to the quote friction approach. That totally, that kind of closed the door on that job. And in terms of the rest of this, it's moving along. So
good stuff. Yeah, I mean, as long as the electricity flows, you're good to go.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Well, thanks for
guys.
that. Thanks for the update on that, Bill. Looking forward to
Thank
it.
you.
And Garth, you've got your electronic hand up. What would you like to show and share today, Garth?
I just have a question. It's kind of a John Kitt question. I saw a TV show called Autobiography recently, and it showed the 3 Briggs Cunningham Corvettes from 1960, and I want one of those. Okay, so does anybody know of a 1/32 kit, body, model, anything of that ilk Corvette?
Well, it's funny because there's like an Aurora, but it's not really to scale.
Ninco makes it. Ninco?
No,
Ninco.
not the 60. The 60 had the ducktail back, did it not?
I'll show you. No, I think it's a 59.
Yeah,
59's easy.
yeah. The
It was
60 had,
1960 that it won its class, but the Corvette itself was 59. The 3 Corvettes, the 3 white Corvettes.
sorry, Garth, was the 60 a round back or the ducktail
I'm not
back?
sure. I know the duck. Let's see.
Which one's that?
That's it right there. That's it. That's a 59, right?
That's 59, yeah.
That was a
Okay.
56.
Or 56, you're right. Single headlight. So sorry, you're right.
Yes.
Yeah.
No. I think it had 2. 59 had 2.
Yeah, 58 was the first year of the double headlights. 59 had double headlights, and I think 60 was the first of the ducktail. Because it was
So
60
which is
Right.
this?
56.
That's a
That's a
57.
56 or 57. Yeah.
All right.
Single headlight. It's a hard top too. It's good you have a hard top.
Yeah.
If anybody knows
Proto Slot made one.
Proto Slot,
Yeah.
Oh, they did?
Yeah. Yep, 1960.
Wow.
Oh, I think that's Ken's dog.
okay, thanks.
Okay, well,
The dog agrees. Whoever's dog that is needs to mute their microphone.
Hey, he's not asleep.
John isn't asleep. Oh, Don, what do you got? Don's got a Hot Wheel of something. A hard top.
59.
59. Oh, because it's got the doubles. Yeah.
Yeah, I had those. I love those damn things. Okay, it's HO, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's a 59. Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, that's what you're looking for, but in 1/32 scale.
Exactly. Something I could turn into the Briggs Cunningham.
And it doesn't have to have a chassis. It's just got to have a 1/32 body. That's all I want.
You can do the rest. Well, hopefully, maybe somebody out there will have a lead for you.
A buddy of
As I
mine,
said, sorry.
sorry, John.
No, my fault. I'm sorry. I was just going to say, I thought it was like a monogram Aurora, but it was under scale. It was undersized. It wasn't really true 1/32 scale. Sorry, go ahead. I'm so sorry, John.
Yeah, no, that's all right, John. Yeah, my friend Chuck Lawrence, he does Cunningham, Briggs Cunningham in 1/32.
Does he sell them?
Yeah, yeah. He's on. It's called, I think, Silent Muse. It's on Alan's website. It's been a while since he's done that one, but yeah, he's done the Briggs Cunningham.
Oh, maybe you can find it at 132slotcar.us. Garth, if you hop on there and type in the name, maybe Alan will have one for sale. You never know. Looks like Jeremy's got his electronic hand up. What you got today, Jeremy?
Hey, can I just show my track? Is that okay?
Yeah,
Of course.
Let me see here. Did this share?
Yep.
Okay, so I started with 16 foot by 8, and I'm just going to put these sheets in. And I got cords or wires and pulley system up here to run it. And then I finally got it in the air, but I figured out the pulley system, if it's at an angle, like it's back here, it doesn't lift correctly. So I had to get some more, I'm going to get some more pulleys for that. But what I wanted to talk to you guys about was right here. Let me.
Okay, before you continue, what's the safety word?
There's a safety word?
Well, with all the rigging there. Oh my gosh.
Okay, well, I just took the rigging down because I got to get it back. I'll be fine. And nobody's going to be walking underneath it except me. And if I die in an accident with slot cars, I deserve it.
I think it's an S&M joke, but we'll let that slide.
Yeah.
Yeah, sales and marketing. That's right. Sales and marketing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I always have trouble with building my bridge. I just wanted one bridge over here, and I wanted it to be high enough for the scale electric trucks to get under, because the kids love those. So do you guys have any, or maybe there's a website that shows a better way to build these bridges over? I thought it was like a 10-degree angle you can do it at, or is it just put wood until it fits right? I mean, I just feel like I'm doing something wrong because I'm just kind of hacking and slashing at it.
What I would do is get some 1/4-inch ply or home sewed or some thin but hard board. Lay as much of the bridge section down on that as you can, and then trace it out with border room, and then you basically cut it out so that you have a thin wood support structure for it, and then put the supports under that so that you're not forcing the track to bend any more than the wood would bend.
Yeah, so I got particle chipboard right here underneath it, and this piece right here.
Yeah, I mean,
so you would just lay this whole corner as far as you want it down and trace it out, and then
from wherever it leaves the tabletop to wherever it returns to the tabletop, if possible. I mean, you can pretty steep if you want to, but you probably want to avoid bending the track or bending the track at the joins and stuff like that. And so I would use wood as big of a single piece as you can. So like get a 4x8 sheet of the stuff and lay the track on it and trace it out and cut it as one big piece, and then support it at the height for the trucks where it crosses over the track, and then wherever it needs additional support until it meets the table.
But imagine, are you also concerned about the slope? Like, you don't want too steep a slope so that the cars can't get up.
Yeah, I don't want it to hit a pivot point where like the NSR cars won't go over or get stuck there. Yeah.
So you're basically gonna use the entire return loop from the bridge down to the table, going back under the bridge.
Yeah, like probably down to here, I'm sure.
Like where it goes straight,
Yeah.
That's where it's gonna touch the table again.
Jeremy, is that Scale Electric Sport?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons I was looking at Revell because of this track. I don't use elevations because I hate the way the track tends to kink. And actually, even over time, if your joints are too far apart, your track will start to warp. So Greg's idea, supporting it everywhere is perfect. The other thing I found works well is if you begin and end with a curve. It seems to handle it much better than the straightaways do. So start near, yeah, you know, start
Start
at the
over
beginning
here.
of a curve or,
And
you
then
know,
wheel
just a
around that
short
curve.
straight before it. I found elevating curves much better, works much better with scaly than trying to do straights. Straights, it just drives me nuts to see faceted roadway, you know, with joints and everything in scaly. And that was one of the reasons I was interested in moving to hard plastic, because it tends to handle elevation better. At least in my opinion, it did. I may be wrong there. Dewan might know better because he's, you know, he's dealing with that beautiful Reveller. The guy's running Carrera. I hate the way scale. I even bought their crossover, you know, with those odd size tracks and the pillars and everything. I still cannot stand the way Scale Electric Sport handles elevations. It's just the design of the track and what the plastic is, to me, just doesn't handle it well, especially on the straightaways.
I had a crossover like that before and up, and like I said, I hacked away at it and I kept putting pieces underneath it and boards, and underneath it looked stupid, so I had to cover it up. But if that's the way I got to do it, that's the way I got to do it.
Yeah, and you were never quite happy with how it looked, were you?
No, because I wanted camber on the curves when it went up a hill, but it's like I was just happy to get it so the track didn't like bounce when cars went over it. So I was like, screw it, there's no camber on this corner.
Yeah, and to Brian's point, Jeremy, Carrera actually has pieces that are actually molded to be like rises, so that they're really quite good.
If you want to use that, yeah. I mean, it's a soft plastic, so that's why you have to have a board of some sort to support it. You can't just put pillars, you know, you can't just put supports every so often. If you did it with just supports, the supports have to support the borders as well, because they'll just fall off. So it has to be, you know, the full width, including the borders, and you would want to put something that's at every join, absolutely at every join, and in the middle of the track. So rather than putting a gazillion support things, use a nice big piece of wood to give it the stiffness that the hard plastic tracks like Carrera and Arton and Revell and whatnot have. But, you know, even those would need a good amount of supports. So, yeah, I mean, the tracks that I race on, the plastic tracks that I race on, most of them are Scale Electric Sport that have a bridge. Like one that comes to mind is the old Fantasy World track that we put a bridge on. And basically, you know, we're using a good, you know, 8 to 10 full length straights. Okay, maybe five to 7 full length straights to go up, and then it takes a couple of turns as the bridge area, and then another, you know, 5 to 7 full length straights to come back down. So the cars barely know that they're going up or down. You know, there's no jumping, there's no bottoming out anywhere, there's no kinks and whatnot, because the whole thing is supported by a wood substrate, and then the wood is supported by columns every so often. And then because it looks silly, those have sides on them to hide the wood and the columns and everything.
Yeah, I'll stick with that then. I was just hoping maybe somebody had a trick that nobody knew about.
Yeah,
all right.
And as high as you're trying to go in such a short distance, it's going to be challenging. So you pretty much have to use an underlayment with that.
All right.
And you can add the camber. You know, once you make that one piece underlayment, you can have the outside of the support be slightly taller than the inside. You know, where so the turn has the proper camber, and the track will just lay flat down on it.
All right.
Yeah, I had a track that Steve Cobb helped build, and I got a picture of it here. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Just let me know if.
Hold it up closer to the camera.
Okay, thanks.
So,
yeah.
So how much of that was supported?
The whole thing, what Steve did, he took like pegboard, but not with the holes in it, and he used that because it was really flexible. And he did the whole track, even the flat part. None of the tracks sat on the table. He had the whole thing using that pegboard type stuff. And it was he made nice tracks. He's the fellow who started the Magnet Marshal. And yeah, you know, we had cambers in it, and he did a really nice job. I just sort of sat back and why I would help, but he knew what he was doing. And he had a beautiful track at his business at Mervyn Meadows. It was a big room. So it was, yeah, he knew how to build. And this was a slot, our Scale Electric classic track.
So he basically did what somebody would do for a routed track, except he used thin wood and then put the plastic on top of.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. And then we got some grass, and he laid the whole thing down like the rug, and then he just cut the where the track was. Yeah.
That kind of material.
Yeah. Yep.
So has that got the texture on one side, or is it smooth on both? Yeah, okay. So same, just like pegboard.
Yes.
Do you know what's that called, Brian?
I think around here they call it masonite.
Masonite. That's the word I was looking for earlier.
About an 1/8 inch thick.
Yeah.
And it does have, I don't want to flex this too much because I'm afraid I'll break it. It's actually a template for one of my guitars, but yeah, I use this stuff. It's got some flex to it. It's nice and smooth here, but textured on the back.
Yep, that's what Steve used. Yep.
But it gives enough stiffness so the track doesn't sag, but gives enough flexibility that you can get camber and elevation changes and stuff like that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so
yep.
Supported, it would be plenty strong.
Yeah, and it's like $10 for a sheet or something like that. It's super cheap.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks.
Awesome. Good stuff, sir. It looks like we might be ready to move on to Club Corner. If anybody has any club stuff they'd like to talk about, I'll take a quick crack at my club goings on, and I'll say it's also a bitch session. On Monday, we raced on, did the analog racing, and this was our final race of the Mr. Slot Car Porsche 911 GT, GT class. A couple of people had McLarens, but anyways, it was mostly the Porsche race. And we're running the Scale Auto Pro Comp 234, I forget what the number is, but the yellow striped foam rubber tires. And last week, not this previous Monday, but the week before, my car started chattering. And I'm like, what's up with the chatter? So I started babying it around the turns and everything. And I figured, I probably need to tighten something up or whatever, something moved. And I'm too lazy to do anything about it. So on this Monday, I get to the race and it's chattering during practice. And I'm like, what? It was even worse. I was going slow and it was chattering. So I finally took a closer look at it, which I should have done last Monday. And the damn foam is coming off the wheels again. You guys have heard me bitching about those foam rubber tires coming off the wheels previously. According to Alan, who sells them, if you use too much of the cleaning fluid, it'll seep down into and break apart the glue, and then of course the tire comes off the wheel. Since installing those tires, we've been making an absolute fuss about not putting too much cleaner on. We would never squish the cleaner into the tire like Alan literally does every time he races with those tires. We would put the battery to the braids and just lightly skim the surface. So there's no way we're soaking the tires to the bone. Like when I see Alan putting that stuff on, he's literally going smoosh, 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 right into the tire. And I wasn't the only one that had tires coming off. One of the guys, when he was racing, he didn't realize his were peeling off. In the middle of the race, the tire goes flying. I thought it was his front wheel or something, but it just completely came off the wheel while he was racing around. And his didn't even chatter. He had no warning for it to happen. It just worked its way off and flew off to the side. And he's been doing the exact same thing. Fortunately, I caught it during practice, so I went over and I super glued the dang foam to the wheel. But of course, that meant the tire was not properly true anymore. But at least I was able to get through the race with my super glued on foam rubber tires. And this happened to enough of other people in the club the night before last that were like, okay, something has changed. Like, Alan has been running the same old foamies on his club cars for years, and he just smooshes that stuff into them, and he's always wondering what we're doing wrong that our tires are coming off. And he'll scold us. You need to not put too much tire cleaner on those tires. And we're like, we're not. We're pretty sure they changed whatever adhesive they're using to hold those tires on there, and it's cheaper, not as good adhesive, and the tires are just, not suitable for long-term racing. Or we've come across enough bad sets Or whatever the case may be, I'm gonna have a hard time.
Surface.
Mostly painted, mostly wood, routed wood tracks. Blair's current track was built by Roger Fossum. Basically using your tools and doing nice MDF tracks and lake.
Was that the video that you posted, Greg? That was his track?
That was yeah. So if you looked at my channel videos that I posted yesterday, that's the track that we were racing on that this happened on. So I mean, obviously, it has plenty of grip.
It's a latex surface,
Latex paint, yeah, regular old latex house paint.
but it's coated with tire compound.
We haven't put anything onto the track, no.
No, but it's coming off the tires.
Or whatever it is, it's building up enough grip that you're getting a lot of sideways force on the tire.
Sure.
And pulling it off the wheel. But
Of
I
course.
think you're right, Greg, that the glue is bad.
Yeah.
That's the only reason that could be happening. Yeah.
I mean, no matter how great the traction is on the track, the track isn't wet, we're not putting wet tires onto the track. So the tires aren't picking up more tire cleaner while it's driving around the track. We put the tire cleaner on very sparingly, and then we let it dry in the air before we then, we put them in park firm, and then they just sit there for half an hour while we're doing other things. And then we race the car. So there's plenty of grip for sure. And that's why we love these tires, is because there's so much grip when these tires are.
No, I think you must have had a batch of them that's got bad glue. Really.
I mean, but how are we to know? Until
you could probably physically try to peel the rubber off try to peel it back
before each race.
Before each race.
Yeah. And of course,
I would do it when you first buy the tire.
When I bought them, I bought 2 sets because I was afraid that this might happen, and I didn't have my spare set with me the other night because they had done so well this whole time. If I had my spare set with me, I'd have just slapped them on and called it good, and complained, but I would have performed better, with proper adhered.
With
Do the tires get smaller each week, Greg?
What was that, Wayne?
Do your foam tires get smaller each week?
Not measurably. We don't run on Ninco. They're not being abraded. I mean, they do wear, but we only do 2-minute heats, so on a typical race night, these cars are getting each person is doing 4 heats. We do 3 rotations, so 12 times 2, 24 minutes of racing, assuming we don't come off ever, and we never come off. So even if we never deslotted, because we race, crash, and burn, if we never deslotted, that would still be only 24 minutes of racing on any given race night.
The cars are light, and if the traction is high, you won't get a lot of wear on them. They will get smaller, but not much.
We race the same. If the tires don't come off the rims, we race the same set of tires the next time we race those cars. We're not replacing them, putting on a fresh set from wear and tear because they're still good. Anyways, that's my bitching moans.
So do you have a question for us about that, or are you just bitching and moaning?
I'm just bitching and moaning.
Because quite honestly, I think what you could do, that pair that you super glued the edge, you're probably not going to be able to get that off without damaging the foam now.
No,
so I would just put them back on the truer and just tickle them and make sure that they're around.
Yeah.
The other pair, check them. If you think that they're loose, then what I would do would be to soak them for a couple of hours in some either acetone or lacquer thinners, and that will soften the glue that's inside them right now. Take them off and then re-glue them.
With what?
With the stuff.
ATP 2000, the black and rubberized stuff.
3M yellow super weather strip and gasket.
Oh, silicone?
No, it's contact adhesive.
Oh, okay. 3M.
Right.
Wow. Okay.
and it's a contact adhesive like Goodyear's Pliobond or other things like that. And what you do is you put a layer of it on the wheel. You put a layer of it on the inside of the foam, and you let it dry. Then you dip the foam tire in your acetone or your lacquer thinners again, and while it's all wet, you slide it back on and get it in position, and then you let it dry for a day, and then you true them down. You cut them till they're round, and that is how we mount foam tires on everything else. And I never have a problem. And I mean, we run with, well, maybe not. Maybe we don't lash on all these funny stuff. But if you're worried about Alan's stuff softening the glue, then use some.
It's the Scale Auto product on the Scale Auto foam rubber tires.
Yeah, I hear you. But if you're worried about it not working, then use some suntan lotion instead, because that's not going to do anything to the glue.
I mean, I put a smear of the NSR tire oil to try to soften the outer layer of the rubber, but
the adhesive that Dennis is talking about in the automotive industry is commonly referred to as Gorilla Snot.
Correct.
You go to the automotive, the auto parts store and sell them. I need 3M Gorilla Snot.
And they'll say, "Here, right over here, sir."
They know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, now I have a solution. Excellent. We'll see if my lazy butt actually does it in future chats. For now, I'm done, and Kelly's got his hand up. What's happening in your neck of the wood, Mr. Avery?
Nothing extensive as what you going through, but I am happy because I just got it right before our Slack chat.
Oh, you're right.
Literally.
So you have everything you need?
I have my last two pieces to set up my track. So I'm pretty excited. So it's just short and sweet. I've been waiting for those for a couple of weeks, and they just came today. So
awesome.
No excuses now.
Yeah.
No, none whatsoever. I'm excited. I'm excited.
Sweet. Yeah, looking forward to seeing your track and helping you change it, because I'm sure there will be something that needs to be changed if you actually. I've never driven on that layout, so the assumption is that you'll want to change something once you get it going.
Yeah, we'll see. Once I put these two pieces down, we'll see.
All right. Well, definitely let us know. And thank you, Kelly. Dewan, you got your hand back up. What's going on, Dewan? You're muted. There you go.
I think I alluded to the fact that I was going to go out to race in far out racing's have it in Electric Dreams on the 13th of November. So it'll be my very first attempt at doing any kind of competitive racing. So they have two different classes of cars that I'm doing, and I was trying to choose between. Okay, this is in the GT. Oh gosh, what class is this? Anyway, the two cars that I'm looking at would be this Nissan. Yes, versus this
the Porsche
shell, and I haven't actually haven't taken this one out of the box yet and tested it out. I got to put some orbital wheels on it, which I'll do shortly. But well, you have the inside track, wouldn't you, on this, Dennis? Which do you think will perform better on the?
All right, personally, I would run the Nissan over that particular Porsche.
Mm-hmm.
But there won't be a lot of difference. But the Nissans are very nice. It's a very nice car to run. Just remember that you've got to take the magnet out,
Yes.
and you've got to change the rear tires.
I did change the rear tires, but I forgot to take the magnet out when I was out there last week to do those practice runs.
And just be careful that wing. The wing is a little bit fragile.
And one other thing, make sure you spike Dennis's iced tea.
No, Dennis won't be there, so you won't have to worry.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I'll be racing retro cars that day at Piranha.
And the other one is that I got was this.
Okay, that's for the Group 5.
Yes. So I only have one side. My first racing sideways vehicle that I've ever had. So
they're actually quite nice. They're very short, so it'll be a bit like a Porsche 911 around that track. But if you can handle it, they should work pretty well. The one that I've got runs pretty well, so it's not a bad car to have.
All right. And while I have focus, let me just do this one thing, because I actually think I did do this. I want to see if you can tell me if this thing shows up finally.
There we go.
Yeah.
So that's the toy car that I was talking about. I was going to try to Frankenstein it out to get the body off of it and see if I can turn it to a spot racer. All right, I'm done.
Do you have that car in hand, or is it something you?
Yes. Well, no, I'll have it tomorrow. It'll be arriving tomorrow.
Okay, I'm curious about the size of it. I'm worried it might be like Carrera Go or something.
No, it's a 1/25th scale. And it's literally, they said that it measures out at 8.5 inches long, which is huge.
Wow.
So it's gonna be like a boat.
Look at the size of those seat belts.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Just like your Speed Racer one, it's very long and narrow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that's only 7 inches long. But it's extremely narrow. Like I said, it's only 132 scale as far as the typical width of a 132 scale car. It's a 1/25th, and this one's probably gonna be. They're very similar, type of format. So anyway, I finally got it to share. Yeah, that's all.
Hey. Better late than never. Awesome. All right, thank you, sir. And my thing is doing silly things. All right, and Bill, you had your hand up, and then we'll get to Love.
Just in terms of, I had a question, or I'm asking for some advice regarding my track. My buddy and I, we both like the track, but there's a deficit in that the outside lane is a lot more enjoyable to drive than the inside lane. I'm sure everybody's heard this a million times. It is what it is. However, the inside lane is shorter, so you have that advantage there. However, is it a lot of fun driving on it? No. So what we've said as a rule is if you de-slot, you go on the inside lane, and that becomes kind of a penalty. And then the goal, or the goal of the race, is to get on that outside lane. But I'd still like to make it more fair, or at least more equitable. Is there any sort of other consideration, kind of like I was saying, where if you de-slot, you go into the inside lane? Is there any other sort of way I could tip the scales back to the inside driver a little bit? Kind of if we're handicapping in some way, you know what I mean?
You can squeeze track that outside lane, put something weird out there.
Put like
install a crossover. Couple of crossovers.
A crossover?
It's a digital track.
A couple.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say it's a digital track, so you could do a forced crossover if you wanted to, so that the outside lane is forced to be on the inside lane. But I wanted to ask, what is it about the inside lane that makes it so unfavorable, even though it's the shorter lane?
I have one corner, that one back corner there that is it's just the radius of it. It just seems like when you go around that corner, those cars just they'll just flip a lot easier right on that corner. And so you really have to get it just right. But the thing is I've driven both of those, or the same car on both lanes, to know that you're really putting somebody through it going on that inside. They're really, the guy on the outside's really got an advantage. And there's enough, it's a fast enough track as it is, that forcing one person to really slow down, I just feel like there should be something else. So yeah, maybe like a chicane, I think is the right.
But well, here's
Here's
the good news, Bill. You've created something that's like a real racetrack, because all racetracks have a fast line.
Okay.
And for example, on a real racetrack, when you want to pass somebody, you actually have to go offline to do that.
Right.
So it's actually pretty realistic.
Okay, and that's the thing. I just don't want, if I'm having somebody come in to race or whatever, I don't want them to sit there and say, hey, can you do, I'm losing because of this, I don't think I have any friends like that, but I haven't raced most of my friends with this yet. So, you don't know someone's character until you've raced them.
I mean, we'll give them the lane that has that on the outside. But I guess Matt makes a good point. Can you redesign the layout? The inside is always going to be tighter than the outside, regardless of the radius of the turn. But apparently, this particular turn, I'm assuming it's at the end of a straightaway, so people are going nice and fast into the turn.
Yep.
You've got borders everywhere, so it's not like the outside lane is riding the fence, right?
Right.
You'll have to slide. So people, need to learn to slow down at the right time for whatever car they're driving. Some cars have better traction, better brakes, and some cars don't. I find, obviously this comes after many years of racing competitively, but generally speaking, the shorter lane is faster, because when you get your brake and acceleration points right, you can go the shorter lane faster than the longer lane.
Right.
What you want to do is make it so that it's even for people who don't race on your track often or ever. So in that case, I would say, sure, you can redesign the layout. Is that an R1 turn, or is that an R2 or R3 or R4? Can you change the turn?
Yeah, and that's the thing is, so I moved the whole track, the whole layout, because it's 12 by 8 now, basically, but it's in an L. I still have another 4 by 8 I could put in here. Now that I've moved it away from the wall, initially I had done that thinking, well, I'm maximizing space this way and I can reach over there. But realistically, it was just a hassle every time. And so I shoved everything back, and I've given more room on that side. So now, and especially with the controller that I was talking about earlier, the extension, it makes it easier for me to just take some of that space back that would have been used by my buddy sitting next to me, So I should be able to add some, kind of stretch that radius a little bit, or kind of reduce that angle as you're going around there. But still, just conceptually, no matter what layout you do, it seems because I spent a fair amount of time in Ultimate Racer in the track editor there, switching things around, and I really haven't come up with a better way to turn back, and kind of turn back and connect the way I need it to. And
Is that Carrera?
So yeah. So it's worked pretty well, but again, I think I'll end up putting in another 4 by 8 here pretty shortly, just based on the added space I've gained from moving the whole setup. And my wife's she's been happy about it. So there you go. But
all I can say is it's a lot like real racing, where I can speak personally. Yeah. I've always had more excuses than talent.
Okay. Well,
there are a couple of other things you could think about. If you have, unless you're still running off the original power, you could think about starting to either increase or decrease the voltage on one of the lanes, so that they either become easier to drive or slower.
It's digital. Can you do that? Can you do that?
Oh,
in
it's
digital?
digital. Sorry.
That's okay.
digital.
But I can program it. I can program it in with HSRMS, whatever it is. There's some app, whatever the race control app is.
And this is a Carrera R1 turn, if I'm not mistaken.
So I was
Isn't
going
that the same?
So,
Yeah.
so what is the sequence of radiuses? So you're coming down the straightaway. What's the radius of the first turn you hit after that straight?
Here, I'll show you here. Let's see. So you're going, hold on. There we are. So what you've got here is this stretch here. You go straight down here and you've got this turn. You can see here, generally it's a tight turn, but I've got to connect it back, or well, they're coming down this way.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And then under. And that's kind of the challenge is this whole area here is just a killing field for anything. And so I've gotten to be where I'm pretty good at getting around this one, but I'm about the only person.
So
and
it's harder.
I just need it to be fair.
It's harder for me to tell through the camera than if I was looking at a track layout. But is that going straight into an R1 turn?
Yeah, I believe these are R1s.
Okay, so the first thing that you want to do on any turn that you want to make easier for people is do a combination radius. So you're entering it with an R2 and then R1, or if you can enter it with an R3 and then R2 and then R1. So basically, the more straightaway you have prior to a turn, if you're not wanting it to be a challenging turn where people have to brake hard and go slow, if you want it to be an easy turn, then you do as many, you start with the highest radius, the widest radius piece you can, and then go down and down. So if you can, you might have to lose a straight section or two, depending on how things are arranged. But if you can go R4, 3, 2, 1, and by that time you might be mostly around the turn, and then you've got a much shorter straight before the next R1, and then a short straight before the next R1. So it's the reason that's hard is because they are barreling down, and they've got an overpass that they're not being able to see their car going through the turn, and it's an R1 turn. So if you can manipulate the layout to do an R2 then 1, or a 3-2-1, or a 4-3-2-1, that'll make it much easier for them. People will still crash. They still have got to learn how to slow down properly.
Oh yeah.
But it will make that inside not as drastically tighter and harder than the outside is.
I see as you're going down that straightaway before you get to that turn, the track is starting to lift, right?
Yeah. So I've
is
used some banking to do that.
So is that turn actually a banked turn, or is it flat?
No, that's a flat.
I think it might be off camber, so you might have.
That's what I'm thinking.
I was going to say, could he change that to one of his bank curves? Is that your longest straightaway? Is that the end of your longest straightaway?
No, the longest straightaway goes from here, down the start and then all the way around. And yeah, I love these bank turns. We like driving it fast. I like driving it fast. I dealt with that, kind of that same issue over here. I think if you recall, I talked about flinging my car into the treadmill, which is right here. And I took care of that essentially, by putting in a turn here and then a straight stretch and just reducing the radius. And that's helped most of it. But yeah, that back corner, it needs to be done better. Something needs to happen there.
Instead of doing that sharp turn, what about like a dog ear turn where it's like an R3 and then straight and then R3 again? And then that way you wouldn't have to, because I can't see where you're turning right there either on that R1 because of that. But what I mean? Like when they dog ear countertop, they kind of like chop it at a 45 degree angle. Maybe something like that.
Yeah, I simply don't have that, so that's something I can go and get. I've basically gotten a lot of not a lot of track, but a fair amount of track in a short period of time. But I think I'm gonna, especially if I'm adding more over here, that'll be something that I'll need to.
You back up.
I think I have need for more.
Bill, can you back up and give me a full overview of the track? As much.
You bet. let's see. I'm perched on the treadmill.
Yeah, so you've got a double paper clip.
Mhm.
Yeah, so yeah, that needs a redesign big time.
Does it?
I'm happy to help you with that process if you want, but yeah, that's not how I would build a track. You know, if you're having fun,
Okay.
that's cool. And you know, maybe just doing the decreasing radius turn on that hard turn will help tremendously. But I'm sure we can come up with a better track for you if you're not married to that layout.
The only thing that'll make me cry is all of these little fences having to undo all of them. But I don't mind doing it as long as I get better driving on them.
If you just shorten both straights, the approach straight and the depart straight, and change the radius, that will ease the corner.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what we were saying. You know, just give it a different radius or a combination of radiuses. Yeah, I'm sure maybe next week, you know, between today and next Wednesday, maybe, you know, send me your specifics on your table. And then your current layout, and then we'll spend some live time doing a layout rejiggering, you know, using some of the things that I've learned over the years. So that might be something fun to do next week. But
I'm not going to be able to be on next week, but I will catch up with you the following week if that'll work for you.
I mean, you know, I can work on it between now and then and just kind of go over it, watch it at some other point in time. You don't have to be there.
I got you. Okay, cool. Yeah. No, I'll by all means, I'll send that over to you.
I mean, I'll admit that Carrera isn't my normal track, that I do planning with, but I've done plenty of Carrera tracks. If you want some seriously good help for doing tracks, that guy 01 on Slot Car Illustrated is a magician. You know, if you say, this is my space with Carrera and it's digital, he could even work with your inventory, and the magic that he can put into a track with just a few wider radius turns and stuff like that is phenomenal. He always amazes me. He puts out a new track. I'm like, oh, wow, that's fantastic. So if you haven't already gotten help from him, by all means, that's a great.
Yeah, no, I just sat down with Ultimate Racer or with the layout editor and just started. Okay, I have these parts. Let's see what I can do.
Yeah, and that's where we all started. You know, either you're doing it on the floor with actual plastic, or you're doing it with virtual plastic on a track plan. You know, that's where we all started. You know, we all get better.
Well, I don't use the spoilers anymore on the cars. That's over with. I've just given up, and so, but it's fine. They kind of match in with some of the cars I see around here, so it works out.
All right, we'll definitely spend some
thanks,
time
guys.
on that later. Thanks, Bill. Luff, you've had your virtual hand up for a while. We got anything to share with us today, Luff?
I was just going back to when you guys were talking about elevations. If I can show you on my hill climb.
Yeah.
It's 3/8 MDF. And I don't know if this cord is going to be long enough. Probably not.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Hang on.
From what I can see.
Yeah. And
that's how much elevation you can get out of 3/8 MDF.
Yeah, and 3/8 is
wow.
Is that Scale Electric or Carrera?
Oh, that's wood.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's beautiful.
That's actually it's Luff.
Slot Racer.
I can get closer, I think. I didn't know the camera got hot.
The thing that I found to be a little bit more difficult with 3/8 MDF is finding it.
Is what?
Finding it. You can't just go to Home Depot or whatever and say, I need 3/8 inch MDF. You gotta find some source through some cabinet maker or something, which I've never done. Yeah, there's
a loop at this end where you go up and you come back down. It's just a single lane.
Yeah, nothing beats a good wood track.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
That's amazing.
That's the kind of thing that you want to hope you can do at some time. you know,
Well,
at some point.
it's just fun for when you're by yourself. You know, we got it down to 14 seconds.
Yeah, no, that's something else.
Yep, good stuff. Yeah, you could waste a week looking at all the pictures on old slot.
Don't take up a lot of room either.
Yeah, perfect single man's rally track there. Thanks for sharing, Luff. And Mr. Mike, you got your hand up.
Yeah, one of the things I wanted to mention is you can, as far as Bill's Carrera track goes, you can try using shims, wood shims, to raise up the outside edge a little bit, and that will sometimes help tilt the track enough to get a better bite in there. But truthfully, if he's got enough places to pass as far as that goes, what we end up doing is everybody runs on the outside lane. And then the only time you're on the inside lane is when you can pass. The trick is to get the inside lane good enough that you can pass at that point, at some point in there. Change your lane changers around or wherever, so you can get a good enough shot to get by somebody if you've got a faster car.
Yeah, and I've got the lane changers in, you know, basically in decent stretches there where it isn't like you're coming out of a corner. One of the tips I had was basically don't immediately go into a lane change or go from a lane change into a corner or out of one, was one of the things I read. And so,
well, if you have one straight in between, it's usually enough in my experience.
That's what I had read.
But the thing is, you have to have enough other corners that are not really small radius corners, so that you can actually get out of the corner on the inside and get enough speed that you can pass somebody and then switch to the other lane in front of them. With my track, that's one of the things that you can do. And if you have enough lane changers around, you can get a short spurt, get ahead of them, and then pass them. And that's the trick. It doesn't make any difference if you have a smaller distance on the inside lane, but enough that you can pass on a lap. Okay.
Yeah. I've got 4 lane changers in there now, 3 of which are useful. One of which I'm kind of just confused. It works, but I haven't found a good use for it yet. And that one's on a turn, and so it's kind of just one of those things I'm not real comfortable with already. So, yeah. All right.
Well,
thank you.
Sure. And Paul, I want to get to Paul and Dennis before we run out of time. What's going on, Paul?
Well, I thought I'd show you the Honka.
Oh, finally.
Hey, nice. That's nice.
Nice color.
I had a bit of an issue with the decals. It reacted with the
oh no,
but it didn't turn a wheel. That one. Also, I've been building.
Oh wow!
All from spares, all complete. I went on their site and bought everything in spares.
What brand are they, Paul?
SRC.
SRC.
You can't get them now. You can't get them at all. You pay a lot of money for them now.
But they have all the spare parts.
And no, they don't know more because I got them all.
Oh.
But I got what's the other one I got? I'm not joking either. I've got spare parts in there. My little takeaway is yeah.
Yep, got a whole nother car there.
That's a complete car there. And another complete car.
That's also SRC.
Yeah, all SRC. But they go under the brand of Scratch and Build, S&B.
Oh.
So, but yeah, I've gone through every single one of their discontinued cars, and I've got all of them now. But there's hardly any spares left. I don't know why.
Well, now we know why there aren't any spares left because you
Yeah.
bought them.
But going back to the honker, that was the chassis I put underneath it.
NSR?
NSR P68 fitted beautifully.
Oh, did those
What's the
furrows-
source
those
of the
furrows-
body?
Sorry,
Where did the body come from?
the body was it's a beta body. It's the fiberglass body,
Oh, okay.
but it was all modified. Chopped all that out, chopped the nose out, vents, cleared the engine cones. I done all. You have to chop all the arches out to make them fit, but it's a lovely little car.
Now, are those the furrows that did they fit?
No, they didn't fit.
Oh,
I put 3 of the big ones on, and it went along. It moved along further than what the engine block was.
oh, okay.
So I robbed them off of a slotted McLaren.
Oh, okay.
So, but no, they were beautiful. But I've got them for another project, so don't worry, you will see them. But as it was going along the engine, it was the spacing. They were a bit big. So, and the small ones were too small. So, but brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
They probably fit on a 3D printed body just perfect.
Sharp.
What did you?
Yeah. Still ain't used it yet. Still a cover. I can't even find it now. It's buried.
I love all these backhanded cap in hand things.
Somebody had a question.
What did you use for paint? That the color looks spot on.
That's Tamiya, something pink. It's one of their metallic pinks.
Okay.
But I think it's too light. If you look at that car in some of the photos, it's darker or it's lighter, depending on what the weather, how it is photographed. But that's the closest I could find in this country.
Apart from the wall paint that you have behind you, yeah.
Shut up. Come on, anything else? Come on, I haven't been on here for a while, so come on, you can have another dig at something else. I've already said the 3D printer's buried, so I haven't used that yet.
Even Petrucci sparked his up. Petrucci's printing now.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
At least you didn't spend 15 minutes talking about it.
Mine is on the side. I've got a big plan chest in my room, and it's buried. I'm not kidding. It is buried. It's got so much. Most of it is SRC spare boxes all piled up on it.
Well, at least you didn't spend 53 minutes talking about it.
Yeah.
All right, Dennis, you've got your hand up. Let's get that in before we run out of time. What's going on?
All right. Well, there was 2 things. The first one was when we were talking about track planning and so on. I don't know if any of you guys have ever tried to build some of the tracks that Scalextric produce or suggest when they publish that book of tracks.
Yeah, I did.
I
was a kid, yeah.
But they still publish them, right? And in the last little while, I've had to deal with an Electric Dreams customer who decided to try and build one of those, and not just a regular figure of 8, but a fancy 4-lane thing. And Scalextric are really bad when it comes to giving you any information, because nobody tells you that you're going to have to open up one of the power bases if you've got 4 lanes, because the connections are now on the inside, one set on the inside, one set on the outside. So if you don't swap them over, you're going to have 2 cars in one direction, 2 cars in another, right? That's not there. What they also don't tell you is that
that's because those designs were for classic track when they absolutely were.
No, this is issue 10. So this has all of the latest track pieces in it.
Then it's Scalextric Sport. They make that 4-lane, so you don't have to. You can have both power taps on the same side, and it runs a wire underneath to the other lane.
They don't show that in the book, and they certainly didn't give me a part number for it. So
I can look around here. I probably got a few of them.
Would you drop me that part number, Jeremy, if you
Yeah,
can?
let me see if I can find it.
All right, thanks. Anyway, so that's another issue. And also what they did was, in that particular design, they were using those squeeze lane things that they have, but they try to offset it and put one squeeze on the two middle lanes, and they physically don't fit because the tags on the track pieces don't fit across a lane like that. So that was one of the issues. The other thing I was going to talk about, oh, Jeremy's got something there.
So this is the piece, and it's sport on this side, but then it's classic on this side. And what it does is it has taps built into over on this part. So this part is not actually connected to this track. It's actually connected to this piece. So you have two lanes like that. And then it's got a little switch on there for 16 volt or 2. I can't remember how this works. It's been so long since I plugged these in, but it was like you power the second side or the first side if you're racing. I don't know. Let me see.
Oh, okay.
See, you keep talking. If I say part number.
Interesting. Anyway, we sorted it out for the guy. Then the other thing that I was going to do was just to tell you all about the race at Electric Dreams on Halloween. Can you see that?
Yep.
So we had a race at like a Halloween party at Electric Dreams a couple of weeks back. Last Saturday, and we had a bunch of people there, as always, early on during the afternoon, and then we didn't switch the lights on in the store at all. It was only the lights in the cabinet, in the display cabinets around the edge of the store. And so everybody had to run their cars with lights, and we ran. Oh, this was outside. The Electric Dreams owner, Scott Bader, owns this Trans Am Challenger that we brought down and had out there. We had our Days of Thunder Mellow Yellow NASCAR outside with a little bit of extra decoration on him. The normal things for Halloween, costume party. But then we ran a 1-hour enduro, 10 minutes a lane, 2 people per car, or 2 people per team, 5 minutes each per lane, and lights only. It was plain Revo slot GT2 cars, and the cars ran really well. We managed in excess of 400 laps, all under lights like this, all with a damn smoke machine running so that it was foggy and misty and smoky inside there. The guy who came down from San Francisco was faster than everybody for the first heat, mainly because I think he knows what fog is, But in general, it was great fun. So these are just a couple of shots that were taken as all that was going on.
Good stuff.
Actually atmospheric.
Yeah, lots of atmosphere. These are the guys who won it. Eddie Shore, you guys know, because he's been on here once or twice. He and his teammate Rob Bender, they actually dressed themselves up a little bit. I disguised myself as a slot car racer.
It looks like one of those is Dr. Demento.
yeah, that's what he is. Anyway, so that was that story. So we got a little bit of Club Corner in quickly just before the end. But a lot of fun, and there are more team races coming up at Electric Dreams. The next one will be December 11th. 2-man teams, no limit on the number of teams. We'll run elimination races till we get to a final 6. That's going to be for slotted cars, Group C's only, inlines only, any kind of tires, any kind of rubber tires, front and rear, no magnets, slotted tungsten weight only, a couple of things like that. So that'll be December 11th. And then if anybody's here on November 27th, there's an open house at Electric Dreams that day. Just basically, we'll have a couple of so-called experts there to help people out with technical stuff. So like a test and tune day.
Cool. Sounds like
Okay, that's it from me.
Lots of good stuff happening at Electric Dreams. That's super awesome. And we're running down to the last few minutes, so I want to remind our viewers to, first of all, come and join a live chat. Don't be afraid. I had somebody suggested another group for me to post on Facebook to post the invitation to, so I did that. And one of the people said that they were basically afraid to come and join the chat because they're not an expert. And I'm like, well, newbies are welcome. You ask questions. We can just talk for no reason. I can certainly talk for no reason, but it's also nice to answer questions, right? So if you are completely new, you'd have no expertise in anything. You just bought a set for your kid for Christmas and you want some suggestions on whatever, come and join and ask your questions, or post your questions in the Facebook post, or bulletin board post, or wherever you see me post an invitation. Post a question that you'd like to see us talk about or answer, but don't be afraid to join. If you are able to come and join a live chat, please. You don't have to use your microphone or your camera. You can just put text messaging or join with your microphone and camera and everything and say, hi, my name's Bob and I'm new and you guys are great, or whatever the case may be. Don't be afraid. We're nice. We won't bite very hard. And of course, and of course, I'm going to do some kind of contest or giveaway when I hit 2,000 subscribers. So if you're watching and you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button, commenting and liking or even disliking, as Dave said on one of his recent videos. It does algorithmic things to help get things into the viewpoint of other people. So do those things. As soon as I hit 2,000 subscribers, we'll do some kind of contest above and apart from whatever income I receive from these things. So
just out of interest, Greg, how many views are you regularly getting in your YouTube stats?
Most of the views of the Zoom chats are not more than 500. So not a whole lot of views, but my subscribership has, since we started doing the Zoom chat, my subscribership has gone from less than 1,000 to almost 1,500. So, I mean, that's not, meteorical by any definition. And I'm not trying to play the numbers game or anything like that. I'm not doing shorts and, trying to get sponsorships or anything like that.
Maybe you should.
No, I'm not that kind of guy, but I'm just saying, if we break 2,000, then I'll definitely do a contest just to celebrate the 2,000 subscribers. But of course, the more subscribers you have, the more views you get, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, before we end the show, Brian had a great suggestion last week after we ended the recording. We were chit-chatting, a bunch of us were chit-chatting about stuff. Brian had a great idea for doing a segment on the show where at least once, during the show, we have a tip of the week. Now, this can be anything. If you have a great tip that you want the slot car world to know about, regardless of what that tip has to do with, let me know. And I'll make a list of anybody who wants to contribute a tip of the week, and we'll make sure we always get to a tip of the week during the show every week from whomever wants to do a tip of the week, whatever that is. So, painting tips, tuning tips, purchasing tips, digital tips, analog tips, whatever slot car, whatever scale, if it has anything to do with slot cars and you have a great thing that you want to share, tell me, send me an email, ggaub@ggaub.com. That's gggaub@ggaub.com. Or message me on Facebook. I'm super easy to find. I'm one of only 2 Greg Gaubs in the world that I'm aware of. Maybe there's a third that I'm not aware of. You never know, but there are very few of us. So if you search Greg Gaub on Facebook, I'm probably the one you find. Certainly the only one that looks like this. Or post on a forum. If you have a tip, I'll make a list. We'll get you to do a tip of the day. And if you want to present, I will assume that you want to present that tip. If you do not want to present that tip, then I'll present the tip on your behalf, and we'll say, so-and-so had a great tip of the week, and here it is, and I'll do it for you. If you just want to give a tip that somebody else shares, that's cool too. I understand that not everybody likes to be on camera as much as me. So we're now at 6 o'clock. That's been 2 hours. Please come to a live chat. But for now, we're going to wave you bye. Bye. What do you say?
Bye.